Well, here we are then, the final race of the PSGL season here today, and we race at Interlagos, so it's going to be a very exciting race. As always, the previous round will be linked up in the top right, but before we jump into this one, let's quickly look at the driver standings. Now, you can see on the screen right here we have a lot of drivers, and that's because we have a lot of reserves due to a lot of drivers having other commitments. But essentially, you can kind of pause the video and break it all down, but we are going to go into this race 19th in the championship, so pretty much mid-table. It's been a pretty tough season for me. 11 points to my name after I believe like 15 races, and you know, this has been a really challenging league for me. By far the hardest league I've ever been a part in. You know, if you look at the list of drivers that were on that screen a moment ago, the caliber of driver in this league is something else. So I'm just happy to have scored some good points. Sometimes I wish I'd scored a couple more, but in general I've learned a lot and I'm hungry to do better on F1 2021. So yeah, in the meantime, qualifying has been ongoing in the background. You just saw me invalidate my second lap. I then actually turned the engine down and went for another attempt, but I completely messed up turn 1. Now, usually in PSGL, we go for the full Q1, Q2, Q3 qualifying, and I got knocked out in Q1, but we had a bit of an issue with the internet and the desync, so we had to restart. We had to do a short qualifying, which gave me a second chance of redemption, basically. So far, we're P18. In the previous fouled qualifying, I qualified P17, I believe, or P18 as well. So I'm hungry to do well. And this lap right here was a cracker. So down towards turn 1, 50-meter ball, you want to brake just after it, down to 3rd, short shifting to 4th, and then 5th if necessary out of turn 2. Keep the car super tight to the left-hand side as we take the shortest run down towards turn 4. That's going to be it for the first sector, a 16.400. For reference, the top guy is doing a 16.2. As we exit the corner, keeping it very tight again. Now heading uphill into the middle sector. Double apex right, keeping it nice and tight to the right. And then opening up the exit and then back down to the apex, which we kind of miss for the hairpin. Again through here, this long left, nice and aggressive on that curb on the inside. The car again a little bit in my way on the right hand side, just kind of, you know, impeding me taking the shortest line, and also my vision was a little bit impeded there, but still a good job. And then the final corner, 4th gear, very nice on corner entry. The exit wasn't so good, but the entry was good, and we're going to improve by near enough 3/10, north of, you know, well over 2/10. So yeah, across the line we go, and it's going to be a 16.1, which was my all-time personal best. So very happy with that. My best lap in time trial was a 0.2. So when it mattered, I delivered, and we finished P12 in the final qualifying session of PSGL. So actually a really good qualifying and redeeming myself from that Q1 elimination in this fouled attempt before the internet issues happened. So overall, a good one for us, you know, good day at the office. Both myself and my teammate Philip Presnader were aiming for P11, so we didn't go too far off that. If you could tell by the gaps, everyone was trying to aim for that kind of, you know, place on the grid. But yeah, P12 for us, very happy with that one. Car was pretty decent. I really enjoyed qualifying, and yeah, the top time, Jarno Otmir, 1:05.6, so he was a full half a second quicker than me. So I've still got a long way to go, but nonetheless, a good qualifying. We're now going to move though into the race here at Brazil. Here we are then on the grid at the end of the formation lap. We're going to start the mediums. Looks like that's what everyone is going to do outside of the top 10. So far, we're not doing too bad. We're in a pretty decent position, you know, behind Liam Parnell on the medium, so we'll see how that goes. But the lights are on for the final time here in Premier Sim Gaming Leagues, and it's lights out and away we go. It's actually not a bad start from us on the mediums. Presnader gets a pretty good launch. Down towards turn 1 on the inside we go. We've got Pedreño there in the red ball, who's currently out of the session. I believe he disconnected, so we're going to pick up an easy, cheap, free position from him there, so up to P11 for us. Meanwhile, behind, Presnader had a bit of a poor 1 and 2, and has allowed Dylan to get past. Down towards turn 4 though, bit of contact here, bit of locking up wheels, trying to make sure we keep it very clean as we make our way up towards 5 and 6 up the hill here. And just trying to make sure we don't get our front wing broken, but we get a virtual safety car as Pablo Hoglar retires from the race. So I'm not sure what happened there. I think he was in like P18, P19, something further back happened. And somehow, amongst all of this, Danny Moreno is up to P12. I don't know how he done it. He started P16. He was also aiming for P11 on the grid in qualifying. He failed quite badly, and he started way down in 16th place, but he's moved up to P12 after like 5 corners. So an incredible start from the Spaniard. And now the virtual safety car is coming to an end, as you hear me say in the background. So yeah, let's see how this goes. We keep a nice healthy delta. Could have probably pushed a little bit more. Moreno behind, looking for a move here straight away. I'm not going to defend too hard, but if he does come through, you know, I'm not going to make it super easy, because I do want to try and help my teammate Philip Presnader in this race, who's behind me right now, because ultimately he is faster than me. So yeah, through 1 and 2 and 3, Moreno just gets such a great run. He's got so much more pace than me in the Mercedes, and then eventually it was kind of inevitable. Down towards turn 4, I just accepted to let him go, and from this point on, the strategy is going to be the exact same one as the last race in Australia. We're going to try and follow Moreno as he carves his way through the pack. That worked really well in Australia, following Jarno Opmeer at that time. So we're going to do the exact same strategy following Danny Moreno this time. So lap 6, you can see up ahead, he's already flown away. It was only a few laps, but Moreno was so fast. I couldn't match his pace. And in the meantime, Timing Shooter in the Alpha has got damage. He's been dropping through the field and has kind of caused the DRS train to break up ahead of us. So you can see he's got a 3-second time penalty as well. And unfortunately, I caught him at a very awkward time. So lap 8 right now, you can see he's struggling. He's missing a left front end plate. And if you look at the gaps in the delta, it's looking like we might fall out of DRS, which is really not what you want to be doing, because there's 2 zones around here. They're so important. If you lose those, you're going to be in trouble. But I just couldn't get past. You know, the middle sector is really hard to follow, and really there's no real overtaking spot in the middle sector. And obviously time and damage is not that bad. Like, it's bad enough to the point where he's understeering, but it's not that bad to the point where he's critically understeering, where he can't make any corners. But eventually he pit. But unfortunately the damage had been done. So I'm now 1.3 behind Liam Parnell. I had pace, I tried to push after him, but I just wasn't able to get close. And eventually lap 12, I've used a big chunk of my ERS, and the gap is now over 2 seconds. So unfortunately, this has now turned into a defensive drive, and through no big fault of my own, just a bit of bad timing really, catching a car with wing damage through the middle sector. So yeah, we've now got pressure behind from Dylan Warren and Philip Presnader as well. Now I noticed there was some tactics going on. Dylan was defending quite hard from Presnader, but never actually went for the move on me. But eventually now, lap 12, he is going to finally go for it. And I was trying to time this so that Presnader could go by, because I said to him at the start of the race, if you're faster than me, I'll let you go, because, you know, we're running different races really, because I'm not in Philip's league in terms of pace. He's an F1 esports driver. But yeah, Dylan got the move done. I thought to myself, okay, you know what, I'm just going to chill for a little bit. I'll see if I can get a bit of ERS, you know, recharged, and see if we can go for the re-overtake and get him back. So I just pretty much sat behind him throughout the entire middle sector, but I had a pretty poor end of the lap, and also a very poor final corner. So now Presnader is going to go for the move, but you can see Andy sees what's happening, and you can see the speed difference as he closes in. I'm going to make a 2-wide roadblock here with Philip Presnader, and he manages to go through. Andy being very aggressive here, trying to force a move, but we managed to defend him off, but I get very skatey on the exit. Somehow Andy squeezes through the gap, but now we're going to be racing side by side down to turn 4. I'm trying to push him away to get a bit of space. Just hold your line, man. What the frick? Everyone just pushes you off nowadays, man. No one knows how to race clean anymore. I'm completely alongside. Completely alongside. I just give up with league racing, man. I'm so done with this shit now. I really am. I'm so done with this shit. Why? Like, why? He's barely giving me enough room. I'm braking on the grass because he's forcing me off track, and then he just pushes me off, and I'm side by side. Why? Why? Are you salty about what happened in Abu Dhabi? Jesus Christ. Try to let my teammate through it, I get fucked over. Yeah, so as you can see, I wasn't happy. I had a bit of a ramble, a bit more to come. Such a shit race. It was going so well, but that fucking car with wing damage just fucked it all up for me. Once you lose the eyes in this game, game over, mate. Might as well pack up and leave, because this is bollocks. And yeah, pretty much, as I was saying, I was quite annoyed at the time because, you know, me losing the DRS due to the damage on Time and Shooter's car, no fault of my own, just the way it worked out. I was frustrated because the race was going really well, the pace was quite good, and then obviously all that happened where I got forced off and shoved off the track. In the meantime, you saw the lap before, out of pure frustration, I got a track limits warning for cutting turn 2, and I just spent these last few laps in the mediums just kind of trying to cool off, relax, and, you know, decompress a little bit. Now, we was planning to pit lap 20. My tyre wear was extremely high. I actually took a lot out of my tyres in the formation lap. I took a bit too much out of them, and I was kind of paying the price for that later on in the stint. But unfortunately, Philip Presnett has stayed out, and we weren't speaking during the race. So he pits lap 20. So I'm going to have to go one more lap, and my tyre wear was really, really high. So it's going to be a painful lap, but luckily there's no puncture risk. We should be okay. Yeah, you can see then in the bottom right, my tyre wear was so high, but we managed to get there in the end. To be fair, the last few laps weren't that bad, even though the tyre wear was that high. We was able to manage it and still squeeze out some decent pace. And we're now going to move on to the soft compound tyre. Now, the good news is we are going to have the freshest tyres out of anyone. Not just that, I managed to also save a set in qualifying. You know, the majority of cars in qualifying went for 4 runs. I went for 3 and saved 1 fresh set of softs for the race. So we're going to have, you know, brand new set and they're 1 lap fresher than anybody else. So we're going to have a slight advantage here, which could count for us at the end of the race. Now, at this point, you know, during the live stream, the chat was, you know, pushing me on, saying, come on, we can do this. We can, you know, recover here. And that's what we're going to try and do. Now, lap 23, you see in distance, Philip Presnett making a move 3-1 to 4. I said straight away that's not going to end well. And lo and behold, we go through the corner. And Philip, unfortunately, is backwards. And we've got Yari, who's recovering from, I'm guessing, a bit of a half spin. So, yeah, contact between those two and also Andy as well. And I'm not really surprised. Again, you know, based on the last 2 races, Andy's been pretty aggressive with me. So I wasn't surprised more contact had taken place. But nonetheless, we're going to have to keep pushing. So I was informed, you know, of penalties around me. So far, there wasn't much going on. But I saw Yari had no ERS here. So his light started to flash. I tried to go for the move. Didn't quite work. And I ended up actually taking an L because this is going to cost me a lot more time now because I'm stuck in the middle sector behind him. He doesn't have any damage. His soft tyres are still pretty fresh. I think 1 or 2 laps older than mine. But I just felt a lot quicker at this stage. But now at lap 24, I was able to get by without using any real amount of ERS because I managed to save quite a bit towards the end of the previous stint, which meant I could actually push quite nicely on this one with the soft tyres and use the ERS whenever I needed it, which is really, really cool. So, yeah, entering the final 10 laps now. We are P13, and we've got both racing points up the road. So, Yari's going to sit behind. You know, I thought at the time I could probably drop him. That was the plan. I tried to push. You can see the gap in the bottom, in the top left is, you know, 9/10 give or take. But I was never quite able to shake him off. Up ahead though, Moreno backwards at the final corner, and not quite sure how it happened, but I just know he had contact with Nicolas Longue and went for a spin. So we're going to get another place up to P12, and now lap 29 we've managed to force our way into the RS range of VSR Andy ahead of us. So we meet again. We're going to see how this goes second time around this race, and yeah, we get a second warning as well for track limits. So right now the pressure's on because it was more or less around this point I found out that there's a driver in the top 10, Ruben Vallejo, who has a 10-second time penalty, 12 seconds in total. So I knew if I could push, I was within range. I just have to get this position. Andy just picks up a 3-second time penalty as well. So right now, if we just stay where we are, we're P10. But I want to make sure I get a little bit closer and guarantee that. And I want to do it on track. So here we are, lap 32. Getting pretty close to Andy here, and I'm going to try and have a little look into turn 1. Again, try not to use all of my ERS if possible because it's quite hard to charge around here. Into turn 1, down the inside, on the brakes. Nice clean move, no need to force anybody off the track or, you know, make any silly tactics. Nice clean move, job done. And Andy's going to sit behind. Same strategy as with Yari. He's going to try and charge ERS behind me. And I'm going to end up dragging both of these guys along for the ride for the rest of the race. Now, up ahead you can see we've got Felipe Sousa and Dylan Boren. They were battling at the end, and Dylan actually manages to overtake him, and in the process of them battling on the last lap, Felipe Sousa picks up a 3-second time penalty. So right now, if we just finish where we are, we're going to be P9, benefiting from Felipe and Ruben's penalties. So I just pushed as hard as I could this lap. You can see behind I'm just starting to drop Andy and Yari, and now through the final corner here, we are close enough. I was pushing, but we managed to get the delta within 3 seconds.
Felipe is going to have DRS now, which is going to make it very hard for me to stay close enough. Caraton wins. Wow, that's a surprise. And we're going to get it. Come on, we've done enough. Yes, P9. Happy with that. Had to fight for that. I didn't even see myself scoring a single point today, so after that, all the BS in the first stint.
So there we go then. That was it for the race, and P9 again, so 2 back-to-back P9s. I believe after Stewart's inquiries, I'm going to get pushed down to P10 because Felipe's penalty is going to get removed, as it was battling with Warren and he got pushed off the track. So totally understandable, but nonetheless, still P10 in the points. Skill recovery after what happened in this race. I thought it was, you know, borderline BS to not swear anymore, because I swore quite a lot during the stream. But yeah, a pretty surprising race actually. Caraton was the surprise winner. Didn't have him in my predictions. Longier, Otmir, Barry, which means Otmir in P3 does officially wrap up the championship. Lewis Watch P5, Liam Parnell P6. He was right ahead of us on the start of the grid on mediums on the alternate strategy. So that's where we could have finished in this race. You know, had the issue with Timon's front wing and me getting caught behind him in the middle sector not happened, we could have followed Liam for the whole race and finished P6 or P7. So again, this is what I mean at the start of the video when I was saying there was more points definitely there to be made and taken. But yeah, a story of our season. The point system in PSGL was a little bit different, so I think it's not like real life. So I think the winner scores 16 points, and then all the way down to P10 who scores 1. So it's built slightly different, the point system, so it's quite confusing. But eventually we finished the season with 12 points in P19, and I'll take that. 19th out of 35. It's just in the second half of the table, but I'm not too disappointed with that one. I think obviously it was more points to be gained, but in general, the caliber of driver, I mean, if you look at the top 10 in the championship alone, it's F1 Esports royalty. You've got also Fabrizio Donoso in P12, Simon Weigang in P14, Vallejo as well, Time and Shooter as well. So yeah, there's a lot of, you know, quality drivers in here. So I am not annoyed in the slightest, and I just really enjoyed it. It was a great experience. So shout out PSGL for the season. Really enjoyed it. But guys, if you enjoyed the video here today, then leave a like, subscribe for more content like this on the channel, guys. I've got some more stuff up my sleeve coming soon regarding league racing, and as always, a big shout out to the members for supporting the content. I really appreciate it. And finally, guys, if you haven't done so already, then do check out the 2 videos on your screen right now, and I'll see you guys next time for some more league racing content. Until then, take care, and it's goodbye from me.